Okay, we are going over a couple of special right triangles today. This lesson, we're going to go over 30, 60, 90 triangles, 45, 45, 90 triangles, which you guys covered in geometry. And we're also going to talk about some Pythagorean triples. Really, the whole point of this lesson, everything that we go over, you guys can find using information that you already know, using your trig. And also just using the Pythagorean theorem. The whole point of this lesson is that it's kind of an ACT prep lesson. It can just make you guys move faster when you guys are taking that test. Okay, so some right triangles that are used so frequently, it's helpful to remember. Those would be our 30, 60, 90 triangles and our 45, 45, 90 triangles. They get their names for the measures of their angles. First one that we're going over, 45, 45, 90 triangles. A couple properties. Both legs have to be the same. So in our picture down below here, you can see they're represented with an X and an X. So these values in a 45, 45, 90 triangle have to be the same. And the length of the hypotenuse equals the length of one of our legs, which is X, times the square root of 2. Okay, so basically what this is saying is if I have a triangle, and this triangle is a 45, 45, 90 triangle, and I know that this leg is 3. Well, the two legs have to be the same. So if that leg's 3, this leg has to be 3. And my hypotenuse of this triangle has to be 3 times the square root of 2. Okay? So in the original triangle, we have x, x, x times the square root of 2. For this one, instead of x, I had a 3. Well, that makes this a 3, and that makes my hypotenuse 3 times the square root of 2. Okay, let's practice a little bit. I've got a 45, 45, 90 triangle down here. We know that our leg is 6. Okay, and they're asking us to find x. Well, x is my hypotenuse. Okay, so if I think back to the triangle on the other page, if I know my leg is 6, the hypotenuse has to be 6 times the square root of 2. Okay, other example over here, we know our hypotenuse. Our hypotenuse is 4 square roots of 2, and they're asking us to find the leg. Well, remember, your hypotenuse is going to be your leg times the square root of 2. So if it's 4 square roots of 2, that means that our leg must be 4. Okay, other triangle, a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Properties for this, the length of hypotenuse is twice the length of the shorter leg. Okay, first off, where's my shorter, where's my long leg, where's my hypotenuse? Your shortest leg is going to be across from the shortest angle, or the smallest angle. So the shortest leg is across from the smallest angle, so that'd be 30 degrees. My long leg, okay, is going to be across from my 60-degree angle. And then, of course, our hypotenuse is opposite of the 90-degree angle. Okay, so we look at the size of the angles, and that tells us which legs they pair with. So our short side is across from our 30-degree angle, and the hypotenuse is twice the short side. And then the length of the long leg is the length of the short leg multiplied by a square root of 3. So I start out with an x as my short side. My hypotenuse is 2 times x. And then my long leg is whatever my short leg is times the square root of 3. So again, for an example, say I have a 30, 60, 90 triangle here. And let's say that I know that my short leg is 2. Okay, well, my hypotenuse has to be 2 times my short leg. So that would be 4. 2 times 2 would be 4. And then my long leg is going to be my short leg times the square root of 3. Okay, so again, this triangle is helpful to memorize. Practice. I've got my hypotenuse is 16, and they're asking me to find my short leg. Well, the relationship between those is your hypotenuse is twice the short leg. So that would mean that my x would have to equal 8. 8 times 2 gives me 16. Other example over here, they give me my short side is 4, and they're asking me to find the long side. So remember the relationship between those is your short side times square root of 3. Now, kind of more of an ACT type question. Why is it helpful to know these 30, 60, 90 triangles? Well, it speeds you up. It just helps you to go quicker. The ACT is a time test. So I've got a 25-foot ladder leaning against a building. 25-foot ladder leaning against a building at an angle of 60 degrees. Okay? Since it's leaning up against a building, we can assume that that would be a 90-degree angle. Okay? And then it says, how far up the building does the ladder reach? So we're trying to figure out this distance here. How far up the building does the ladder reach? Well, I've got a 90 and a 60-degree angle, which means that this has to be 30. So this is the 30, 60, 90 triangle. And I know my hypotenuse. Okay, now remember the relationship between your hypotenuse and your short side. Well, my short side is going to be half of that. So I know my short side is 12.5. Okay. And then I can make the jump from my short side to my long leg because I know that my long leg is going to be my short side, which is 12.5, times the square root of 3. Now, if you were taking the ACT, they would probably have those as like decimal approximations. So you could take 12.5 times the square root of 3. And when I plug that in a calculator, I get approximately 21.65 feet. Okay? So your ACT answers would probably have some sort of a decimal approximation there. Okay? And find our short leg first, and we multiply that by square root of 3. Okay? Two triangles that are very helpful to know right off the bat. Okay, it's essentially what we went over, but instead of the x's, they're going to make those values be 1. So I've got 1 and 1 for my side lengths on my 45, 45, 90 triangle. And then I've got 1 times the square root of 2, which is just the square root of 2. Okay, then for my 30, 60, 90, you'll want to know when the short side's 1. Okay, if the short side's 1, my long leg's going to be 1 times the square root of 3, which is just the square root of 3. And then my hypotenuse is going to be 2 times my short leg. So that would be 2 times 1, which is 2. Okay? You definitely want to have these memorized before you guys take the test. They hide these on there all the time, especially this guy here. All right, other ones that help you be quicker on the ACT are Pythagorean triples. You've got your 3, 4, 5 triangle, your 5, 12, 13 triangle. Those are the two most common that will show up. 10, 8, 6, though, however, is also very common. When I'm looking at these Pythagorean triples, I know these are right triangles. Okay, I don't know the angle measures with these, but I know that they are right triangles. If they're a right triangle, my biggest side here would have to be the hypotenuse. Okay, so these numbers on this side and that blue square that I just drew have to be the hypotenuse. But essentially, what these do is, if I know these three sides, I know it's a right triangle. It has to be a right triangle. And if I know 2 of the sides, then I know the third side immediately. Okay? So it's just helpful to have these memorized to help you guys get quicker when you take your ACT test. Okay? So for example here, let's say they write down a problem. They say find the perimeter of this triangle. Okay? Now I'm looking at it. See, it's got a hypotenuse of 10. One of its legs 8. I need to find the other leg. So the ACT is probably expecting you guys to go through, take the time to do Pythagorean theorem. But if we can recognize, hey, hypotenuse of 10, leg 8, that's a Pythagorean triple, I know that this side here has to be 6. Okay, 10, 8, 6 is a triangle that they like to hide there. That saves me the time of having to do the Pythagorean theorem before I can find the perimeter because I just know it. Then I can take 10 plus 8 plus 6, which gives me 24 for my perimeter. So it just helps to speed us up a little bit. Another example, it says find the area of the triangle. Okay, all they gave me was the hypotenuse. Okay, but they also gave me 90 and 45. This is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So if that's square root of 2, okay, it's really 1 times the square root of 2. that means that both of these legs here have to be 1. So if I need to find the area, I need to do base times height divided by 2. That's the area of a triangle. So I'm going to go 1 times 1 divided by 2, which gives me 1/2. Okay, so again, if I can recognize, hey, that's a 45, 45, 90 triangle, it just helps to make you guys quicker on the ACT. Okay, got a couple practice or lesson practice problems for you guys to try, and then you've got a homework assignment. Okay, 4 questions on your homework assignment, and then a worksheet packet. So do your lesson practice, take them up, have it checked, and then you guys can begin your homework.